There's a man in the house. There's money involved. And you know what that means. People will be looking for him. People with greed and avarice in their black hearts.
You found me the bastard.
I call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised. So I shall be saved from mine enemies.
We gather at the river where bright angel feet have trod with its crystal tide forever.
What have you done?
Dear Lord, please forgive me.
You're telling me you living all the way out here without even a horse?
And I have no intention of ever leaving.
These are hard men. They will kill us dead in the dirt.
Well, then we better kill them first.
Why don't I start by prying out one of them pretty front teeth?
Help me.
May the Lord have mercy on your soul.
You know, I'll kill you. You and the child. You are a hard woman, Pandora Meadows.
From Place of Bones. Let me give you recording access. All right, you've got recording access. You've got 15 minutes for your interview. We're recording on backup too.
Okay. Thank you. 15 minutes. I could do that. How are you?
Good. Hi, Adam. How are you?
Good, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
But I live north of the city, New York City, but back for many years I lived around Union Square, and I could swear on occasion I might have seen you on the street down there, but I somehow or other, like always managed to squelch the urge to accost you in person. So,
Oh, wow. That's so
were
cool.
you down there at one point?
I do have a place in New York. Yeah, downtown. So you moved out of the city, and where did you move to?
Well, I mean, there was some time, I got a lot of life in between, but I'm just like in 2 hours north of the city in the Hudson Valley.
Oh, wow. Everyone did that during the pandemic, huh? That sounds.
Yeah, I'm guilty as charged. Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about this film, The Place of Bones, which I enjoyed, and I was actually like, first I was wondering, has she ever done a Western before? But I was doing some digging. You actually have been in a couple of Westerns in the past, haven't you?
I have, yes.
So like one was The Lost Son, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And really early in your career, I think The Ballad of Little Joe, which you probably were a kid, I'm guessing.
Yes, 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 yes.
Is that so? Because I was wondering how maybe I was going to ask you about, did you prepare or did you grow up around Westerns at all? I'm somewhat aware of your upbringing, but I was wondering if you ever watched Westerns growing up, or if that was ever something you were interested in as you were becoming a person.
I mean, of course, I watched some classic old Westerns, but I think that was, it wasn't like the main kind of movie that I would be watching. I think mainly because it was mostly like male driven. And I like that this movie,
Right.
Place of Bones, has more of a female protagonist. So that was a really fun thing about this movie. I think it's a fresh take on a Western story.
Sure. Oh, very much so. I mean, you're essentially in, I think, just about every frame of the film, and it's definitely definitely female centric. I was just wondering, in terms of like preparation, did you did you go back once you decided to take this role? Did you go back and look at any others, or because I mean, there isn't much else to look at other than other people's ideas of what the West was like. you know,
I mean,
in,
that wasn't the way. I mean, I research more. I get into like what was my character life. I'd research the time. I'd find some photos. I'd read about what was life like at that time. What was life like for women at that time. I would
Mhm.
create a whole character backstory involving like researching, when I was born and I create a whole bunch of memories for my
Oh,
character.
oh, nice. Does
Yeah.
that come from like is that your own creation, that kind of method?
Well, I started recently working with this acting coach named Warner Lachlan, and she has this technique where we talk about it together and we, talk about all the formative memories like as a kid, and then I write them down and then I picture them in my head and just growing up in the Old West and what that would have been like. And it's really it's so fun.
Yeah. Uh, so your dad, he wasn't into the Westerns as much?
I mean, my parents didn't watch a lot of films. I mean, of course, like a High Noon or something like that, a classic movie. I've definitely, Unforgiven, or I don't know,
Hmm.
Hell or High Water. I'd have to research kind of all the different like cool westerns that I could think of, but um, I didn't really do that to prepare. I more just thought about the story and the script because the script to me was really evocative, and I just wanted to get into the world of the script.
Yeah. Had you, um, you, like I mentioned before, you're like I think just about almost every moment of this film. Did you have any kind of nerves about that at all? Did you have any kind of reservations about it, or because it's a juicy role?
No, to be honest, was so excited about how juicy the part was, and just, working with the director, Audrey Cummings. It's as an actor, it just feels like to have a complicated role where you have kind of these amazing qualities of fierceness and resilience and strength and intelligence, but you're also kind of screwed up because bad stuff happened in your past and you're, bitter and angry. And so I like that my character is really complicated. And in some ways, I'm a great mother, and other ways, maybe not such a great mother.
Mm-hmm.
Given a complicated, juicy role, it's so fun.
Yeah, totally. I could see that. But interesting. You mentioned you're like a human being in this film. You're both a great mom and also somewhat flawed. We see a little bit more about that towards the end of the film without giving anything away. But what about your daughter? Did you connect with that character as an actor, as a person? I'm talking about not necessarily as your character, whose name is Pandora, interestingly enough, but like that girl and what she was going through. I wondered if you connected with her story.
Yes, I mean, for me, the whole movie is about how much I love my daughter, how much I want to protect her, how much I want to make sure she doesn't have the same life that I had. I think, some terrible things happened in my past, and I don't want her to have to, have the pain that I had. I think that's my major motivation in the movie.
Hmm. And what about you though, as Heather Graham and reading that script, and obviously you're primarily focused as you're reading that script for the first time on your character, but I was wondering if anything kind of, I don't know, anything occurred to you about this younger girl at all, and just her, like exposure and her vulnerability out there in the West and the
Well,
Wild
I think
West.
that the daughter is the most relatable character. I think for an audience member, she's probably the most, relatable, kind of normal seeming person in the movie.
Hmm.
But I think in reading the script, it's just I love reading interesting, complicated female roles where you get something fun to do. So I love that my character had that, and also her character has that. So, and that we have a complicated relationship, but that we really love each other, and that somehow I'm kind of slightly training her to be like a mini me, but she's also got her own mind. So she doesn't necessarily want to do that. But at the same point, we do have a lot of similarities. So it was fun watching the movie last night and just seeing her performance. I thought she did a great job. I love seeing like all the female roles being interesting and complicated. And she's really talented. She did a great job.
Yeah, she's got a bright future, that kid, that young actor. Um, yeah, and she's growing up rather in a time where, she might have a very different experience as a young actor and what's available to her as a female actor, than you did, let's say, when you were starting off.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was starting off, there was no awareness that, oh, we need to tell more female stories. Like there was no Barbie movie coming out that was written, and directed by a woman, and this feminism. I think there's an awareness that we want to do more things like that, even though I don't think we are doing it enough. At least there's an awareness.
Well, I have a question about okay, again, we're going to tiptoe around the ending of this surprise. There is a bit of a twist, a surprise ending, which I'm not going to go into in any detail at all, but it kind of takes the film in this unexpected direction. And I'm just wondering, when you read that script the first time, uh, what was your reaction?
I mean, I like that you don't really know what's going to happen, which is something some of my friends said last night when they went to go watch the movie. They said, I had no idea how this movie was going to end, which I think is cool because it takes that Western genre, which sometimes you do kind of know what's going to happen, like the main
Mhm.
guy's going to win, and it takes it and it tells it in a different way that you're not used to seeing. I mean, obviously it's a crazy twist at the end. So yeah, I was really surprised by that.
You were surprised. I imagine. How would you not be?
How would you not be? You don't expect the movie to end like that.
No. And hopefully we're just tantalizing people out there to see it. And well, so last night was that the premiere?
Yes, we had a really cool premiere, and it was fun to just because I'd watched it on my computer before, so to watch it on a big,
Really?
yeah, in a room with other people, hear their reactions. It was great to see all the other actors like Bree and Corin and Tom, and just to see their performances, and not just looking at it as from my character, but like as just
Hmm.
an audience member. And one thing that was cool is that even though it's tense and it's kind of scary, that there was a lot of humor that people found in different moments. And I don't know, maybe even at the end, which is disturbing, a lot of people started laughing, which I like
Well,
that.
it is, yeah, out of shock. I mean, that's something we do, right? Reflexively.
Yeah, I like that, there's a mixture of genres.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I typically Westerns deal with a kind of certain themes over and over again. I kind of like that this was, in some ways it leaned on those old themes, but it also obviously was a fresh take, just by the fact that, that Pandora is the, driving force behind the story and all. But also, yeah, when you're watching on the big screen like you were, do you have that? Do you typically get that experience watching your films where you almost forget that you're watching yourself and that you're kind of get caught up more in the story and in the cinematic experience?
It's a mixture. I mean, sometimes, you're looking at yourself and you're looking at your face and you're being overly, hard on yourself or something. But no, I could listen. It's fun because when you're in an audience, you can feel when people are like, or people are like laughing, or you can feel like people are, nervous or tense or they're relieved. So it
Hmm.
is fun to just see how people react.
I'm sure it's still after all these years now, you still get the same thrills.
I mean,
Mhm.
to be honest, I don't always it's kind of hard to watch movies that I'm in. I don't always
Mhm.
do it, but it is kind of thrilling just to be in a movie and it's exciting. I mean, I'm getting to do what I love and yeah, it's fun.
Well, the name of the film is Place the Bones. I mean, talk about burying the lead, but I'll put the trailer at the beginning. I'm not, we'll make sure people get a sample of Heather Graham in this movie. It's called Place of Bones. It's in select theaters and available digitally on August 23rd. That's coming right up. And I wish, and it's directed by Audrey Cummings. We should say that. It's co-stars you and Tom Hopper and what's the young actress's name? Corin?
Corin
What's her
Nemec.
name?
Corin Nemec is the other man, the
Oh,
lead guy,
oh,
and
I'm sorry.
Brielle Robillard is the my daughter.
Definitely should mention her as well. And it is a Western with other little bits of other genres sprinkled in, whether it's comedy or horror or whatever you want to call it. But it's fun to see you on screen and in the front and center, Heather. That was really a joy to see that.
Oh, thank you. No, I was grateful to just get a juicy role like that.
Oh, I bet, and hopefully this will lead to an indefinite number of more roles
Thank
for you and
you.
your career. And next time you can, I run into you in the Manhattan or somewhere, you can snub me entirely.
No, you should say hi. You
You
should
didn't.
definitely say
I
hi.
would totally. I'm kidding. I absolutely
You
will.
snubbed me
I
by not
totally
saying
will.
hi.
No, I never thought you were unapproachable. Actually, I never had that for a moment. Thought you would have been unapproachable. I just try to be respectful when you're in one of those, when you're not, like, when you're out in public, and it's very
Sure.
rare when I'll do that. Very rare. Now that you've been on the podcast, though,
Yeah,
I
definitely say
will.
hi.
What's that?
Definitely say hi. And yeah, thanks
I
for
don't.
talking about the movie on your podcast. I appreciate it.
I've been doing it for 13 years, and you're somebody who's been it's primarily focused on independent film,
Wow.
over the years, and so I've been doing it forever, going back to, I don't know, like to the early part of the last decade. So, and you've been there, you've been there. You're somebody who's really done their share of independent films or
I
independent.
survived. I feel like I can relate to Pandora. Like I found a way to survive.
That's awesome.
Survive in this business. Yeah.
You've done great. And you're a joy to talk to. So thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good run with this movie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.